Well, hello there. Welcome to Treads. Can you see me? Car's flipped. Working on this side now. As you can see, is pitted all the way across the bottom. Let's show you how to do this. This is fixing your door inside and lower outer panel of the door fix. What do you do first? Well, you panic. Oh my God. No, you don't panic. You don't panic. You're in your build. You got your doors to fix. What do? No, do you fix the door while it's on here? Do you take it off and fix it? How do you get this door looking good so you can maintain these gaps? Because as you look, this line, this door is not hanging where it's supposed to be. Oh, you might want to consider rebuilding your hinges, because there may be some play. But it's a good idea to just take off the hinges and rebuild them with new pins, new bushings, to eliminate that play. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, there's probably a little play in it. The first thing I'm going to do is take off this door. This door has to come off. One more. Here we go. That hurt really bad. Damn. Shake it off. Shake it off. The reason I'm taking off this little panel here is because you can't paint behind it with it on. You're not gonna get paint back behind it. I'm taking that part off so that I can paint this with the hinge on. That's the whole reason behind this little thing, because it's going to get replaced. That way, with my little panel that I just showed you, this piece painted, I can put it back on here and screw it tight, and it's perfect. Yep. Oh yeah. There we go. There we go. There we are. Just like that. Okay, now I got those caps off. So we gotta take this hinge totally off, but we gotta put it back on. So we need to try and get it roughly back where it was. And the only way I know how. Let's just draw some lines of where this piece is. Okay, thumbs out. You can see where I put that Sharpie marker so I know where that hinge goes. Hey, I've got my hinges out. Hinges are out. And what I'm going to do is take these apart, sandblast them. This upper one here, we're going to do something special to it. I'm going to, got some pictures here. I'm going to channel it so we can run wire through it. I already done the other side. That's what it looks like when it's done. That's the channel that goes in there. And this is the piece that I cut out on the other one, so I can use this as a little template now. The bottom is right here. So on the bottom, I need to cut out that little section in there and channel it so we can run a wire through here. And I'm going to show you how I do that. And the reason I'm doing that is because I might be putting power windows in this. Mark which one was the top. So I'm going to knock off these pins. I'm going to take this apart. Like that. And then once through the pin, oh, that, and it falls right off. So now we can sandblast these. Can get in wherever. Yeah, see that? See how worn that bushing is? Yeah, it's pretty worn. Okay, we don't need this yet. So I need to make this look like this. Now I can mark this out. I gotta cut that much out. A little bit easier than the first one. So I got an angle right there. That's easy. That little angle right there. Let's see, we're gonna go right there. X's. That this measurement right here, and that's going to be to there, and then this is going to bevel down like this, and then on this side same thing. There. That's going to bevel down to here, like that. I can see it here. See how that bevels down right there? Let me draw it in red. Right there. And that's... Oh, wow! That hurt. That's right there. And that comes straight down. And straight over. Okay, so like so. And might as well do this side too. Okay, now the next thing to do is to cut that out. So we gotta cut that part out. take some flat stock like this. That's going to wrap around the edges. Yeah. So that's next. That's a close-up. Look at that. Woohoo! Well, this is what I have so far. I got my top piece rough cut here, and I got my two other little channel pieces cut there. See, like that. Whoop. See, little flyby here. There we go. Just like that. Now this is just roughed in. And here's my little exit area for the wire to come through. Now there will be a spot here, another hole, but the other hinge, what I did is I welded that complete piece on here, and then I drilled a hole and bored it out so that it had a nice curved and soft edge to go in. And it looks like they used thinner steel than I did, because I used, mine is pretty thick, and it only has to run a couple wires through here. Okay, so after this, what I'm going to do is bevel my edges so that I've got a lot of weld penetration when I go to weld this. See how that fits in there nicely now in that corner in there? Now I just gotta bend it ever so slightly right there. See? See this bevel here going that direction? Well, I need to put a bevel here. See how it's straight? I need to bevel that a bit. Just like that. A good bevel in there so I can get some good penetration. Here's what that looks like now that I got that piece welded in. Now I'm going to bevel the edges and get this piece that goes on here like so welded on. that. That's my next step. So now I've got both sides welded in. I made sure that the weld that I put in here is nice and smooth. And one other thing is to make sure there's no little stragglers like this here. Let's get that out of there. Now it's gone. Now I am ready to, I've got this piece here ready for me to weld on top of here. Okay, so there's the top. I purposely welded the hole that goes right here shut, so after I grind this, I can drill a hole and then bevel that out so that it's a nice hole. And like so, like that, so that you can run a wire through it for power windows. It's not too hard. Why pay someone else to do it for you? Or why pay to have one already done, like a brand new hinge, when you can save some money and do it yourself and rebuild your existing hinge on your own. Put in some new bushings and reinstall the hinge and start working on the door. Okay, a little bit each day. Paint up your hinges, because the next step is to if you need to paint in here, do whatever in here, do it. Get her done. All right? Because, get my fingers out of here, because the next step then is to reinstall this hinge. And to try to get it close to where it was. So I will line up my little lines with the edge of here and bolt this down. So that's the next step. Get your fingers out of here, will you? Okay, so put your hinges on and then get your door on, because I see a scratch here in my paint. Remember that, because when this door is painted and when you have your hinge painted, this will be a spot here you can mask with tape the sharp edge so you don't scratch your hinge. So that's actually a good thing right now. So these scratches here, these first scratches are good. In my mind they are, because it tells me that, hey, make a note, mask off these rough edges with tape so that when I put this door on for the final time, I'm not scratching my hinge and I don't have to do any touch-up. Same with down here, see? Same thing. That's okay. Then, whatever the hell that's called back there, that little disc that has the holes in it with the threads that these bolts screw into. Put one of these through one of them, that way it lines up the other two. And get these top ones screwed in first. And then do the same with the bottom one. And you might have to move the door up or down to get this bolt in and this bolt in. And then you should be able to take this out. And that one screws in by hand. Okay, everything's roughed in now. Now the next thing I need to do is put this latch on. Well, you get your door hung. You think you got those hinges where they were before? Well, guess what? They're not. Because the door shuts like shit. Let's show you what I got here. See this big gap here? Well, this whole door needs to be shifted inward. And look at that. So it's got to be tilted like this. So this top hinge has got to come in. Yeah, here, this is the fun part. This is the whole fun part. So now that door there is my guide to getting this door set before I fix this bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up these bolts and shift this door inward a little bit. Shift this here door upward. That's why once these are on, I don't want to move them again. No, absolutely not. Let's see what we got here. Well, it's better. It's definitely better. Let's loosen this up. It's not working. I need something to prop up this door. Where's the jack? There. Just needs a little help to push it up. Okay. God darn it! Drop the socket down in here. Still a little weird, but it's better. It's definitely better. Okay, so let's try and pivot this in more. Let's see, what did that do? Better, a little better. I can't get it. This is why when I get these hinges set and I like the way these hinges are shutting, I don't want to be doing this again. That's why I wanted to take this plate off so I could paint these hinges right on this panel here, this 8-arm panel. This is telling you right now, this is not fun. Better. Can't go up any higher. I told you I loved hanging doors. Well, that sounded good, but it's still not in far enough. Okay, here we go. Put the door back on. Get it where it's supposed to be. A little better. That did something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it did. That did do the trick there. Might be on something here now. There we go. We're getting there. Now the thing I need to do is put on my trim and see how the trim lines up, because this looks like it's pretty good and it feels pretty good here. And I need to look at my gap here compared to over there and see if this door needs to go this way some. It's pretty tight here, and that's the reason why I'm replacing this little 8-arm panel so that I can adjust that gap right here. And It's looking good here. Okay. Feels okay here. Awfully tight here. I may have to take this off so I can get this door ahead some more because it's starting to bump right here. Fun, 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 fun. So once you get one door looking really, really good, and I like how that door fits, that is your guide then for this door. Use those measurements to gap this door. Okay. Burp. Okay, for me to adjust this door, I need to move this door this way. In order to do that, I need to take this little panel off. But before I do that, I want to map out this curve here with this little gadget here. And then I'm going to transfer that curve onto a piece of cardboard, like so. And then I'm going to cut that out. And then I've got a reference for when I get that new panel on and do my body work. So I've got that curve. Okay, so see, got this here piece of cardboard here, so that when I replace this here panel here, I've got some sort of guide to check to see if I'm getting this here curve right. Some sort of guide. Anything helps. Now, I'm gonna take that off. Look how shitty that looks up through here. That looks bad. I'm sorry, but I want to fix that. Here's my replacement piece. Look how nice that is. Wow. So I'm going to mark off roughly around here, around there, where I'm going to cut that off, and same with over in there, you know, right where my fingers is. And I'm going to take this piece off right now. I'm not going to videotape that because all you got to do is take your time. Now that gives me room. I might have to dig out this corner a little bit. That gives me a lot of room to move this door now this way. Next thing, get your trim on. Get that trim on. So I've got to do some measurements between this gap and compare it to the gap on the other side over there. Same with here. But this line is looking good. It might be able to go up a slight bit. According to here, yes, it needs to go up some. And I feel a little ridge there, so definitely the door's got to come up some. This plateau here, I need to compare that to the other side, and I need to compare that gap. I'm not concerned about how tight this gap is because I'm going to have to manually fix that. I want this gap to look good, and I want this gap to look good. This gap here I can adjust, and I also want this gap to look good, but that's not crucial because if this molding is all the way up, which it is, all I really care about is that this line lines up, and that can't go up anymore. It's ever so slightly downward. It feels good here. So more tweaking is involved. I got to get that gap and that gap to match that door over there before I can attempt to fix that down there. Tapped this up just a slight bit. And what I like to do, and this is what I did in my last car, I know this door doesn't have any glass in it yet and it's not weighted down, but I like to get it so that it shuts really nice on its own, like that. So now, the next thing I'm going to do is, I measured my gap on that side, and with this piece of tape on this paint stick is my gap over there, and it's tight down here. It's tight. This is right there is where my gap should be. But I can't twist this door any because this gap right here is the same on the other side. And also, this gap here could come in a little bit more, but it can't come up anymore because on that side, it's really flush here. So I can't move this door up any. If I move this door up to try to tilt this door like that, to narrow this gap and to widen this gap, then this is going to be too high here. I may have to tap this part of the door down, but before I do that, I have to use one of these, and I have to gauge that curve, and then I got to compare it to the other side. Okay, now let's compare it to the other side. So I have to flip this around like this. There's a little rock in there. So this could maybe tap down in this here area a little bit. But that's one of the things I'm going to keep an eye on. Maybe put a straight edge and see what this looks like. This is one thing I'm going to keep an eye on when I'm doing this adjustment. But before I monkey with the bolts in the door, I've got one thing I'm going to do, and it requires this 2x4. Let me get it set up. So this is what I got. Careful, 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 careful. I have a 2x4 clamped to this side, and what I'm going to do is yank and tug this 2x4 this way in hopes that I can take this column and bend it a little bit this way. And I'll take that 2x4 on this side and do the same. So I can get this to kink this way a little bit. I did that on that side. I don't know if it helped. It may have. I got that gap looking really good over there. So that's what I'm going to do on this side. It's up to you out there who I'm pointing at, which is me. But out there in YouTube land, it's up to you to make it fit. So do whatever it takes to make your project how you want it. Me, I'm pointing at me now. I want it to look pretty cool and straight. So this is what I'm going to do. Let's do it. Okay, there you have it. Look at that. And that was just me clamping a 2x4 and applying pressure and pushing it that way. And I did it here too, that way. Looks really nice. Now, where's my stick? Stick, where is the stick? So now, it's tight. I need to undo my hinge bolts to the door and see if this door will move this way. Get the stick in here and tighten those bolts back up. Now this gap here is still a little low. It is still a little bit low here, so the whole door can come up a slight bit. That's okay. That's all right. Let's loosen up those bolts and see if I can shove this door over. Got my bolts loose. You can tell because see how the door moves here. I've got these bolts tight. Let me make sure I got them tight. Yes. I've got those tight. I've got these bolts tight and these bolts tight. These are all loose. So I can move this door up and down and left or right. And I got this where it should be. So what I've been doing now is when I get the door here, obviously it's all kitty wonkus. See? Just lift it up. Get it to latch in place. And look at that gap now. Get my paint stick. God, where is that paint stick again? Right in front of me. So now I can put this paint stick. Put this paint stick right there, if it'll stay there. And I need to take my little handy dandy. This here really works great. To put right here. It doesn't do any damage. That I know of, but it really helps to get this on this rail and to lift that up. See it lift up? That works really, really nice. Oh yeah. And try a little bit more here. Try to push that door over. Yep. Now, I can tell that it's wider up here than it is down here. I'm going to go to the other side again and check my gap. This is what it takes. You got to go back and forth and compare, because that first door you did, which is this door, looks really nice. And this is tight going in at an angle. So I need to do the same thing over there. It was tight going in at an angle, not straight. That's straight. So actually, this door can come now this way a little bit because I need this to be snug going in this way. Might be able to just kind of squeeze it, move it that way. Yeah, just like that. Get this squeezed up as high as it can go to try to get this door to go like this. But I gotta watch this right here. This is a little bit too low right now. So it could come up just ever so slightly, but not much. And then I'll tighten those bolts in there. Okay, on my next video, if you got this far, thank you for watching. I've got more. I've got a lot more. What I'm working on next is this little patch panel here. All I did so far was cut out the bad part. That's it. Look how nice this shuts. I tell you, this sort of stuff, you can spend hours and hours. If you're picky like me and you want this gap here to be exactly the same gap as right there, like, oh my God. But anyway, I will see you in my next video where I tackle getting this outer piece fixed and the inner piece. That's next. That's next on Treads. Thank you for watching.